Scorpio, welcome to your Astro Reels. It's my pleasure to read for you. As you know, these readings are timeless and signless, so you don't have to be watching these videos at the time that they're being published, and you don't have to have any significant scorpionic placements in your natal chart for these messages to be for you. If they resonate, then they're for you. And if they don't resonate, I would invite you to take a step back and then come back at a later time once the energies have had a chance to manifest into the physical a little bit more, and then see what you think. Of course, if you'd like to work more personally with me for anything really, you know exactly where to find me and my spirit team at my Etsy page. You can find a link on whatever platform you're watching right now. Okay, so we're about to finish up the month of April soon. So if you haven't had a chance to check out the April messages, please go ahead and take a look at those monthly messages. There are two of them. Part 1 and part 2, and I believe on my Instagram page I've pinned them, so they should be easy for you to see. All right, and finally, I believe I may have 2 more slots open this week for any intuitive counseling sessions, so just let me know if anyone's interested in that. You can shoot me a quick DM, or of course just go ahead and place an order on my Etsy site. All right, so let's jump in. Okay, let me put my glasses on, because what are we doing? Oh, what are we doing otherwise? I'm standing so far up here, so. All right, so Scorpio. Okay, interesting. So what I'm seeing here already coming off the bat, Scorpio, is that there's an energy. I love that I see this Emperor card, but it's giving me some vibes that I'm not entirely, I don't want to say comfortable with, because who am I, right? It's not my business, right? But it almost feels like you're projecting an image of authority or self-assurance or something like this that doesn't necessarily translate into the reality of either what you think or what it actually is. And I'm not quite sure which of those it is, but it would depend on who you are. So the thing is that what I would like to contribute to this situation here to kind of help you out with is that regardless of whether it's a facade because it's not who you really are, or it's a facade because it's not what the reality is. Or what did I just say? No, whether it's a facade because I forgot what I just said. Sorry, I'm in the sauce here. Go back and look those two. But regardless of which one that is, the point I want to say to whoever, either of those situations, is that look at the motivation underneath why you're doing this. If you're doing whatever it is, putting up this facade, regardless of if it's one of those two motivations, make sure that you're not taking a tactic that is actually manipulative. And that's the warning coming through here. Because be mindful. For some of you, you may identify this dynamic that we're reading here as in the 3D. It may manifest for you as like seeing, like maybe you're trying to juggle different options or something, and maybe you're presenting yourself differently to different people or different spaces. Be mindful of that you're not doing that for the purpose, consciously or unconsciously, of manipulating others. That's what I'm trying to say. Wow, there's so much information there. Because I really feel that the only person that you would be misleading here would be yourself. I hope that makes sense. Because imagine that you're trying to promote a certain idea about yourself or a certain persona. And you may think, oh, I'm getting away with this for a little bit. But I don't think that you would be necessarily as getting away with it as you think. I think that you're going to be a lot more I'm hearing the word translucent, but I want to say transparent than you think, is what I'm trying to say. Ooh, sorry that I muddled that out. Okay, so watch your motivations, whoever you guys are. Look at this. Look at this. It's practically the same card coming out here. And once you identify that you've got that motivation, right, then start looking at, well, what's driving that motivation? Why do I feel that I have to wear a mask? And why do I have to wear that mask for the purpose of manipulating? And then, what is it that I'm trying to hide even deeper that would cause me to manipulate so that I can have this mask, so that I can hide, so, What is it? And I think that maybe it could simply be something like you're hiding from someone in particular, maybe a boss or some type of authority. It could also be that you are dealing with some type of childhood issue that you haven't dealt with formally, or that you may not even be aware of at this point. For somebody here, I'm getting that, especially for that latter situation where it's dealing with a childhood incident that you may not even be aware is active right now. You may know who you are, because I'm feeling some type of back pain in upper back, they're saying. I'm hearing so funny. I'm hearing latissimus dorsi, but I'm like, my conscious mind is like, is that the upper back? It doesn't matter. Oh, you heard what they said. It doesn't matter. Whether or not your lats, is that the back? Wherever that is, whether it's the upper back or not, that's an area that they want to bring to somebody's attention here to kind of identify, hey, we're talking to you, right? So this is a deep dive a little bit, but I don't think it's as deep as you think. It's probably right on the surface. You may think there's an energy here of thinking that you're hiding. Oh, no one's seeing me. No one's seeing this persona that I've created, but it's very clear what you're about. All right. Maybe somebody hasn't told you about it yet. Look at this. Look at these kings. Kings and the emperor. Wow. Maybe this is a strong energy. Maybe somebody hasn't told you about it, because let's keep it 100. As adults, we keep it pushing. We're not out here necessarily calling people on their BS or calling people on certain behaviors and stuff, unless we're busybodies. Usually we're just like, okay, well, this person's doing them. Let me just move forward and do my own thing, because I've got my own stuff to consider. But Spirit is saying it's a little bit of a tweaking, and it's about showing up with more honesty and more, two words are coming through: authenticity and integrity. And maybe the reason why you're not doing that is because you have a certain belief system about who you are authentically. Obviously, you may not feel good about who you are, and you may not connect with the fact that you don't feel good about who you are because it's been so long since you've been hiding. And I'm getting a little bit of a throwback here to middle school. So for somebody here, or at least one of you, because this is a universal message, so it's going to apply to more than one people in some way. Details will show up differently, of course. But this is a middle school thing. Like maybe in middle school you started having these ideas that you weren't good enough or just whatnot, and maybe you put on a persona or whatever to kind of start circumventing those unhappy feelings and whatnot. It could simply be putting on a persona of certainty or surety, like, oh, I know what I'm doing. But either way, they're also giving me the number 38, so I don't know who that's for. It doesn't have to be an age. It could be something, right? Anything. But whoever this is for, it's time. They're saying to throw in the gauntlet. It's time to just give it up. Did I say that right? Throw down the gauntlet. Anyway, whatever. Just going with the words here, because they're very specifically meaning for certain people. But yeah, I'm seeing some really great cards in terms of happiness, in terms of learning, in terms of understanding the lesson. And I kind of feel that maybe the lesson isn't too far off when it comes to learning it. So this is a good thing. I think also some of you may even get a little bit tired of having this persona. And so for those of you who are tired of it, I feel in particular you were doing this for somebody here. You were having this persona in a marriage that you had, and now your energy is reading as divorced, whether or not that is the actual legal status in the physical, but you're reading as divorced from that person, and you do feel like a feminine energy, male, female, gender non-conforming, but you do feel like a female energy. And so, whoopsies. And so I do feel that this was an issue in a marriage that you had before. And so you're just ready to like give it up. You're like, this didn't work for me before. I'm ready now. But they're bringing through this caution or warning a bit here, because for some of you, you may not be necessarily at that ending point where you're like, I'm going to give it up. Here you go. Somebody tugs a little bit and you're like, all right, there it goes. Some of you may be like, no, I need this. You're like, oh, okay, right? So start looking at how closely you're clinging to whatever this persona is, it's loosely based on you, they're saying. Whatever this persona is, it's loosely based on you. Look at these two. They're like mirroring each other. What if this is, oh, excuse me, let me just pull it up here. It's off screen. What if this is the reality of what's going on, right? And then this is the persona that you're giving. So just be mindful of that so that you can pave the way for greater success, so that you can feel more comfortable about where you're going and what you're heading into. Could be a lot of things, right? You don't want to wait, I was going to say misrepresent, but I feel like something else was going to come. You don't want to, yeah, no, the word that I'm hearing spoken over what I'm saying is misresult. You don't want to misresult. So misresult probably kind of comes through with two meanings. Misresult, maybe you don't want to get results for something that isn't going to necessarily be a good fit for you, right? If you're going with that persona. And the second one is you don't want to miss certain results that actually are more suited for you because you are misrepresenting yourself. Yeah. All right. So now's the time they're saying for adjustment. I was going to say attitude adjustment, but I'm not necessarily getting it's an attitude adjustment. But if you are being manipulative, then chances are it does include an attitude adjustment, but it need not be right now. So as I'm looking here, Spirit is saying sometimes we put on certain personas or certain faces, certain aspects that aren't really authentically us because, well, we have an idea about what it is that we need and what it is that we have to possess in order to get into certain arenas or to be accepted or to belong or whatnot. But those ideas about what we think we need are not necessarily true. And even if they are true for where you're trying to go, it doesn't matter if it's not true for you. And if it's not true for you, then where you think you're trying to go is not for you either, right? So what they want to encourage right now is getting to a place where you can center, get back to you, maybe just do it old school, write down on a list what you're good at, you know, what you like, who you are. Even, yeah, what you like. It could be something as simple as, you know, a lot of people out here, they're fronting about, you know, liking certain things. Like you talk to someone about movies and they're all waxing poetic about some documentary they saw or the traveling artist who's like, now, you know, it's like, come on. Meanwhile, they're watching Jerry Springer like at home at the crib, you know? So it's like, stop acting like you are all about these things that you think make you look a certain way in society, when if we're clocking the hours and your activities that you're doing in any typical day that you don't realize people are watching, you're not really about that life. So they're saying it's time to get into agreement with who you are. And they're saying that's an act of self-love. Now, as I'm saying that, I'm just seeing, look at this woman right here. She's locked off completely, and underneath, I'm not going to move the cards, but this is actually the devil card here, right? And I'm definitely seeing in the past here, this is all about you just really feeling not good enough because of some experiences that you've had. I definitely pick up that some of these experiences are relationship based, like romantic relationship based. And as I'm saying that, I'm tuning into at least one of you right now. Could be a couple of you because, like I said, this is a universal reading, and what comes through is usually has universal application. But it feels like desolation, for lack of a better word, in the throat chakra, heart chakra. It's like devoid of love, of comfort, of compassion from anybody. And so it's completely understandable if you have lived a life where people haven't really seen you, and if they ever got to get a glimpse of you, like because you showed them a glimpse of yourself and they reacted adversely and they didn't handle you well in that moment, it's completely understandable that you would recoil, especially if you're sensitive, right? So Spirit is showing us, we understand, showing you, us and me too, right, that they understand, and like they're like, we understand to you. And so they're like, ding, it's time to go back inside, take stock of who you are. And when they say take stock of who you are and what you've got going on in your life, don't do the BS, well, I've got this, I got that, I got to, really look at yourself and, like, you know, do I really speak French? It's on my resume, but am I really able to book, you know, book a hotel for my boss if that's who I need to do? So keep it 100, okay?